And that's where I spoke to David Strow from Boyd Gaming. I asked him how concerned he was that revenue predictions for sports betting in some casinos across the United States had fallen short.
I think you need to look more broadly than simply the revenue that's brought in by the sports books themselves. I mean, that is important. I mean, it is a business. You're trying to make money in your sports books. But from our perspective as a company, where we really see the potential of this business is an opportunity to grow the customer base and to draw new people into our doors. What we're excited about is bringing in a customer into the property that we haven't necessarily seen before. They'll come in and they'll place a few bets in the sports book. But once they're in the property, they're going to spend money elsewhere in the property. They may gamble at one of the table games. They may eat at one of the restaurants. They may see a show. But the point is, we've brought new customers into the building that then spend throughout the business.
There's been some reluctance historically because of concerns about match fixing. That's not really something that you can control. To what extent can you stop that, if at all?
We are constantly on the lookout for activity in the lines that may cause suspicion, and we report that activity to regulators as soon as we see it.
Can you give some examples of what that might be typically?
It would essentially involve, is there unusual line movement in a game that would indicate some kind of unusual activity that then can be reported to gaming regulators for further examination.
Recently, the Southeastern Conference Commissioner, College Sports Commissioner Greg Sankey, said that he considered the mental health of athletes an important issue to be considered when it comes to legalized betting on college sports. He was referring there to the pressure on college athletes if they're under pressure to perform when they know that there are significant wagers being bet on, say, a college football game, on points scored, yards, and so on. Again, how much of a responsibility do casinos bear in trying to reduce the stress on these athletes when they know that they're playing in games where vast amounts of money might be changing hands on the outcome?
Well, again, I would point back to what I said earlier. I think money was already changing hands on these games. The only difference being now is that these wagers are now being conducted to a growing extent through a regulated industry that has the same interest in mind as these leagues do, which is ensuring that the games are fair and above board. I would say that the athletes already have a pretty considerable amount of pressure on them already because they are trying to do what every athlete in America wants to do, which is win games and to perform to their best level. And I really think that's where their focus is on game day, not worrying about wagering activity that may have been there already.